is the UN's human rights event. Let's see. Okay, here we go. It's Wednesday, September 26th. Just covered a briefing by the Swiss foreign minister. Pretty interesting. We asked him about denial of visas to Cameroonians and Biafrans. He said he wasn't aware of it, talked to the General Counsel, but he said some other interesting things about arms sales and multilateralism, North Korea. So hopefully we'll write a story later. Now we're racing over to hear the Liberian president, hoping to ask him a question. And then, later in the morning, an event by Michelle Bachelet, the High Commissioner of Human Rights. And we've written to her because we have an absolute right to cover that. No amount of corruption from the very top of the UN should be able to target us from covering such an event. So, here we go. Whoa. Some serious business here, man. All right, I'm going to IPI. But when I come out, I will cover this. I don't know what kind of info people are going to get, but could be something. Okay, then. Well, yeah, machine gun Dobbins, good idea. Okay, going in.
Recently, you had a situation with the container. What did the president do? He constituted a committee to investigate. Not only that, but because of all of the issue of trust and confidence, he reached out to the international community, to our partners. Look, we have a problem here. Let's show Liberians that we are ready to be transparent, that we are ready to be accountable for every action this government is going to take. We've done that. The investigation is on the way.
Very cautious.
I've called. They have to give me something in writing.
I get that.
They have to give me something in writing. And I'm here. I have a red or I have this. I have that. I like every other person on this line.
Listen to me. You're barred from headquarters at this moment.
From what? Under what order? I haven't seen anything.
But that's not. I'm telling you. Therefore, please leave the line.
In 2 days, you couldn't get anything in writing. So what is it? So you can take out anyone from this line? Under whose order?
Please leave the line.
I'll leave the line.
Thank you.
Where's my written order that I'm barred?
Please leave the line.
No, I'm asking you. Are you going to tell me once I leave the line?
I don't have a written order.
Well, then how can you want it?
Please leave the line.
You have instructions from who? I asked you. I asked you 2 days ago.
Please leave the line.
I'm telling you, this is. Do you know how bad? Do you know how crazy it is?
I understand how frustrated you are.
So why don't you call somebody and get them to hand me a written something?
I'm giving you instructions to leave the line now.
So this is corruption. The United Nations is corrupt. They take a journalist out because they wrote about Antonio Guterres' corruption. I'm a journalist and I'm being banned from the UN because I wrote about Antonio Guterres' son doing business in Africa. And it's a joke. A total joke. An absolute fraud. Okay, I'm going to stand right here then. I'm waiting. No, I'm going to call these guys again. This is not a dictatorship. I'm a journalist. I have an RSVP. Can you do what you have to do to get me? Do you know how ridiculous this is? They've had all summer to give me a written order. I wrote to Peter Drennan. What's his response? Ronald Dobbins assaulted me and no one did anything. They didn't even answer my letter. This is a human rights event. Human rights. You see it? Human rights. It's a joke. Somebody has to give me something in writing.
They will get to you.
When?
I don't know.
It's been since July 3rd. No, they just hope I die on the street. Seriously, yes they do. Yes they do, 100%. And I'm telling you, I've RSVP'd to other events here. They need to, let me see the list. How many people are on the list? How many people are on the list? They've had 84 days to send it to me.
Kate Ferguson, Joe Feldman, Grace, Marielle, Edwin, Kathleen Hunt, Tor, Junie, Anna Hellett, Arden, Grove Harris, Hans, Anna Mahalak, Linnea Main, Antoine, Rachel, Jenny Macklin,
Caballo Sara,
I have an RSVP. Hello, this whole place is corrupt. By the way, entirely corrupt. I have an RSVP. I'm a journalist. I wrote a story about the Secretary General, and now he bans me. I don't have a written word or nothing. Like a dictatorship.
And we are very, very glad to be Germany's partner in it. And I also want to recognize, in this week, we have seen some very robust attacks on multilateralism, on international institutions, and on the rules-based international order. I really want to recognize the incredibly powerful voice we're hearing from Germany and from you, Heiko, personally, in standing up for this, and Canada is your partner. It's great to have Spain here, too. Our Prime Ministers had a good time in Canada last week, and I think they spoke also both about their shared commitment to feminism and their shared commitment to multilateralism. And I'm so sorry that Mohammad has left, because we had a great time with her in Montreal. So we've been asked to talk about the specific things that we're doing. So here's the specific stuff that Canada is doing. We announced on Saturday at the end of our Women Foreign Ministers meeting that we will be appointing an ambassador specifically on women, peace, and security. We're very excited about that. This is still our G7 presidency year, and as I think Netumbo pointed out, we have made gender equality and women's issues a core issue of the G7 year. And our Prime Minister was really committed not to creating a pink ghetto, but to having women's issues be raised in all of the different areas. I think the announcement to which you were referring is Canada will be delighted in 2020, the 20th anniversary of 1325, to be co-chairing together with Uruguay the Women, Peace and Security Focal Points Network. So that's going to be great, and I look forward to continuing these conversations with everybody. We are one of the countries that has renewed our National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security, and we're building on that. And then just on practical implementation of 1325, I think Netumbo referred to the ELSI initiative. This is a practical effort to actually act on the promise of 1325 and double the number of women in peacekeeping and as police officers in peacekeeping. Our feeling on that is we kind of have the high-level commitment, all of us, to doing it, but we haven't done it. And based on our current rate of progress, it will be 37 years before we hit the 1325 target. I will be 87 by then. I think that's too long. So what we are proposing is some very practical measures to increase the number of women working in peacekeeping. And I just want to offer, in conclusion, a couple of political thoughts, because I'm a politician. So I feel like this room is speaking to the converted and speaking to the rather wonkishly converted, right? I mean, we talk about WPS focal point networks and 1325 and national action plans. And these are all very important, don't get me wrong. I'm very, very committed to them. But I think we also need to recognize two things. One is there is a backlash out there against women, against the progress of women. I think that backlash is very often connected with the backlash against diverse societies and sort of rising tides of racism we see in a lot of our countries. And certainly when we had our Women's Foreign Ministers meeting in Montreal, there were some people, even in Canada, which we think is pretty good, a pretty good place, who accused us of virtue signaling and this just being about political correctness and not about real issues. So I think we have to realize that we have to keep on making the case and fighting the fight when it comes to advancing the cause of women, particularly the cause of women in security. Women with uniforms, women carrying guns. This is, I think, really important for our societies, but it's threatening to a lot of people. And the second thing I wanted to say is there are also a lot of people in our societies, certainly in my own, that are counting on us to get this done. You know, outside the UNE think tanks and UNGA meetings that we're madly racing between, this is the age of Me Too. This is the time when a lot of women in a lot of societies, in my society, I think in the society of everyone who's here, are really rising up and are saying, this is it, enough is enough, gender-based violence has to stop. And so I think that we should both, you know, as political leaders, see that as a mandate to act, to fight back, and to really be strong in making this agenda actually happen, and in believing that we're not just acting to speak with each other, but we're really acting to do what our people, what my voters, what women on the streets of a lot of countries today are demanding that we do. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for, again, very honest reflections on the gap between the stated commitment and actual implementation in practice, but also to acknowledge the pushback that...
Okay, well, but there, German House, Women, Peace and Security, Krista Freeland, the Foreign Minister of Canada, with the reference to robust attacks on multilateralism. That would be Trump, and Trump's holding a press conference, his sort of end of UNGA. End of multilateralism? Press conference at 5. So we're going to cover that. We're banned from the UN now, by the way. Speaking of the wonders of multilateralism, a totally corrupt Secretary General at a minimum. As I was explaining to a German former spokesman inside there, I'm fine covering hypocrisy in the international community between countries, well, with the exception of France and Cameroon, UK and Saudi Arabia, stuff like that. But generally, you know, I feel that they can give or not give as much information as they can. It's almost like covering sports, where the Secretariat acts out of control and throws people in the street and says that they don't have to give any information about how they spend public money. No, 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 no. And so we oppose it, and in exchange, Mr. Guterres. Now, the funny thing is that the German diplomat I spoke to isn't based in New York. And he's like, but I've heard Guterres. Man, you got to take a look at this guy. You got to take a look at what he did. Take a look at what he's doing. Take a look at how he traded the Cameroonians for the Budget Committee chairmanship. You know, people were, since I'm not naming him, I can say it. This particular diplomat wasn't found banned to be quite bad. Ban Ki-moon, that is. Bad for the UN, but Guterres is worse. I assure you. And I was no fan of Ban Ki-moon. I'm not a defender of him. But he wasn't sophisticated enough to sell out in the way that Guterres has done it. And it's amazing, it is amazing, that this man individually can impose a lifetime ban on a journalist without even a written piece of paper. Today he had Tiny, Captain Tiny, so get out, you must get out of line. I put the video up, you check it out. Absolutely disgusting. Now I'm supposed to go to something by the Singapore Foreign Minister. Gotta see. Trump first. Okay, we continue.